Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. So don't say I didn't warn you. I'm reviewing the recent movie Star Wars, the new Star Wars, and you know, my I think I was in high school. I found out about what I realized later was the expanded universe. Like the new Jedi Order, what was the Thrawn trilogy, and Dark Nest, Rogue, the X-Wing series. All this stuff that takes place after Return of the Jedi. And I was thinking about how old Mark Hamill was, I think as I had bought the first book of New Jedi Order, Vector Prime, and as well as Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher. I'm like, why don't they do another Star Wars movie? A sequel based on these books and all that. And I'd been wanting that for so long, and I read that George Lucas wouldn't do a sequel trilogy. I'm like, crap. So then, finally, out of the blue, one day, I'm on Facebook and I'm reading about George Lucas giving the rights to Disney and all that, and I find out there's going to be another movie, and I'm like, oh my gosh, but George Lucas ain't going to be in it, but ain't going to be doing it, but I was like, cool, and I'm like, I want Mark Hamill back, I want Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford, and I find out they're coming back, and, at the time, I was dealing with a bunch of crap, so my love for Star Wars didn't die, but it kind of just subsided for a while, and as the movie's getting close and I watch the trailers, I'm like, okay, I can't wait to see this. I mean, oh my gosh. And at first, when I found out George Lucas wasn't directing, there was this list of potential directors, and I'm like, one of them was Steven Spielberg, and I'm like, please, Steven Spielberg, he knows just how to mix adult stuff and kid stuff into a good blend to make a good, which is what is required for Star Wars, but he ruled himself out, and there was talk about Joss Whedon, and he ruled himself out, but I can't complain because he was working on the next Avengers movie. I can't pronounce his first name, but the guy who did Pacific Rim was considered, and I was like, alright, he'll be cool, but he didn't do it either. And then I read J.J. Abrams is directing it. I'm like, what? No. Well, I mean, it wasn't yes, it was kind of mixed. And that was because I never really saw any of his movies, and I know he did Star Trek, so... And then one day, a friend of mine wanted me to watch Star Trek Into Darkness. I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. After I watched that, I was like, there ain't a doubt in my mind, this new Star Wars is going to be amazing. And, I'm watching trailers, I get all hyped, and my girlfriend wants to go see it, so I'm like, alright, let's go. So, I go to the theaters, I watch it, and I walk out, and I have a rather mixed response to it. And I'm not saying that the movie is bad at all. I'm not. But I mean, my biggest complaint has been pointed out by other people. It's just A New Hope all over again. I mean, I'm going to get shot for saying this, but at least the prequels tried to be different. Well, sort of. There was a hint of A New Hope in The Phantom Menace, but, the other ones didn't have a darn big ball that they had to blow up, or, a droid running around with this secret thing, like in A New Hope, all this crap, and, I mean, this one was just The New Hope all over again. I mean, spoiler, as sad as I was, and, golly, Han Solo's death, as sad as it was, and as much as it devastated me, it was ultimately a reminiscence of Obi-Wan's death in A New Hope. I mean, even Rey and Han Solo's friendship was a reminiscence of Luke and Obi-Wan. And, like I said, A New Hope all over again. A droid has this secret thing this evil order wants, goes to a desert planet, hint, hint, to hide, hint, hint, runs into this random girl, thinks she's... I mean, obviously Luke wasn't a girl, but still, you know what I mean. She finds it, and finds out about this secret stuff. They go track it down, run into this old guy, he gets killed. There's this big space station that they have to destroy, a secret part on it that's weak, you get what I'm getting at? The rebel base is on this planet, this secret planet. I can't remember if it's not the Empire anymore, it's the New Order. And, this New Order I don't know if they found out, but, you know, it's... I mean, you get what I'm getting at. And, I mean, the plot... I mean, it's not the exact same plot as the first one. It's just... Because the plot of this one is Luke Skywalker has disappeared. My favorite character disappears. And they're trying to find him, and he leaves a map or something like that to his location. I think it was something about the old Jedi Temple or something like that. And that's the plot. They're trying to find him and destroy the... Not the Death Star, the... What is it called? Star Killer, I think? I think. And... I mean, even the... And also, the opening was kind of a reminiscence of A New Hope as well. You know, the stormtroopers arrived and they shoot. And I think the stormtroopers overcome them. And the villain of the movie, not Darth this time, you know... At first we had Darth Vader, then Darth Maul, Darth Tyrannus, who was also Count Dooku, and, you know, Darth Sidious, and there was General Grievous, but I don't know if he was really a Sith or not, but, you know, whatever, and you know, I'll admit, Kylo Ren was cool. He was a cool new villain. Like, I was really wondering how they were going to do the villain, cause, you know, like I said, this ain't based on expanded universe material. I think I forgot to point that out. They already said this won't going to be based on any of the material. It's going to be completely fresh. Anyway. And so, you know, when the villain shows up in the movie, I'm like, alright, he's pretty cool. And this doesn't have an I am your father moment, but there is one twist in it that's, meh. And, you know, he's basically Han Solo's son, which means... Han and Leia's son, which means he's Darth Vader's grandson, and Luke is his uncle. I mean, too much darn family drama. And, but yeah, the new villain was cool. He ain't no Darth Vader, I don't think, but he was a darn cool guy, and the acting, the effects were all great. You know, the effects were amazing, and unlike the prequels, it had this fairy tale essence that the originals had, which I'm glad they brought back. It kind of had the heart of the trilogy, the original trilogy, whereas the prequels are more of a political thriller in space. This was went back to the traditional fairy tale in space, and the lightsaber fight at the end didn't have all this twirling and jumping and kicking and all that like in the prequels. This one looked like an actual fight between two people with laser swords and all that. And the new characters, I'll add, they were likable and they were pretty cool, and I was actually like, there's a scene where one of them gets sliced across the back by Kylo Ren at the end, and I thought he was going to die. I'm sitting like, if you die, you know, I was getting all scared and sad. And, you know, this movie, like I said, I have a mixed reaction, but I do recommend it, honestly, because there is more good in it than bad, you know, and I was sad that they couldn't come up with something better than a rehash of A New Hope, but there's going to be 2 more movies in the trilogy, so we'll see from there. And sad Han Solo. Oh, and my favorite part is the end, because I finally got to see Luke Skywalker. I just wanted to cry when he turned around. I might have, I don't know, but yeah, Luke, golly, that was the best part of the movie. He just turns and looks, and I'm just like, why did this have to be the end of the movie? Why? And I gotta wait 2 years for the next movie. And yes, there's another Star Wars coming out next year, but it's not going to be based on these. It's a spin-off, Rogue One. I think Rogue One, a Star Wars story showing how they got the plans, the rebels, way back before A New Hope. Well, not way before, but, you know. On the bright side of that, maybe there's a chance Darth Vader will come back, since it's taking place at a time where he didn't die, so that's a plus, but... And yeah, oh yeah, and there's this new villain called Snoke. Not much is known about him, but he seems to be on the dark... he is on the dark side, and he seems to be a very powerful guy. He's the leader of the First Order, and... Oh yeah, they're not rebels anymore, they're resistance. But... And like, you know, there's questions left unanswered, and all this stuff, but A New Hope had the similar stuff, and it was still good, so I'm not complaining. And I'll just close with, it's a good movie. Just don't take my, complaints to heart. It's a good movie. You should check it out. I recommend it. And bye.
Mark, are y'all hungry?